Okay. Hi, Tom. How are you?
All is well. Pleasure to be here, Douglas.
Well,
Thank
thank,
you.
thank you for coming on the show. It's nice to have you here. We're going to be talking about Scalar light. Is that how you pronounce it?
Scalar light.
Scalar
Correct.
light. Okay. I suppose first off, tell us what it is, because I've never heard of it.
Everybody's an expert at scalar light. It's sunlight or starlight. What do I mean? I work with the energy of the sun and the stars. I've developed instruments, scalar light instruments, that control that energy from the sun and the stars.
This is solar power.
It's similar to that, yes, yes. But the way I convert it is I take scalar energy, run it through this instrument, and then I convert it into really a double helix. It's, if you will, a waveform that's peculiar to a scalar wave.
Okay. Now, according to your bio, you're using this really more for medical, for like treatment and for holistic healing and wellness, mind and spirit.
Yes, that's correct. And how do I do that? I take these instruments and I'm able to work through a photograph of a person. Scalar energy is not electricity. People will email me a photograph, and with their photograph, I can actually place it inside the instrument, and the instrument can find their energy field. So this is a new branch of physics in which we find the force field, the energy field of a person through their photograph. I never work with people, I only work with photographs.
Well, that's amazing. So, if somebody is ailing, you can heal them through a photograph.
That's correct. Now, I claim that I can work through their photograph. How they respond, I depend upon their testimony. In other words, in this laboratory of mine, I can pick out a disease signature on the photograph, and I can eradicate the disease signature on a photograph. But I have to wait for a person to substantiate that, because obviously I don't work with people. Once again, I only work with their photograph.
How many people have you done this with?
I have worked with millions of people. Now, keep in mind, if I can work with a photograph, I can miniaturize photographs. Today in my laboratory, I work with at least 500,000 photographs.
Wow. Can your machine differentiate between an AI and a real photograph?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I believe it's divine intelligence, and in so doing, if it's a real person, it will recognize their, if you will, their signature. Everybody has a unique signature. If it's a graphic image or some type of AI image, it will likewise recognize that as being distinct and different. So I encourage people, send me a real photograph. Don't send me a graphic image. Don't send me an AI image.
You said you were going to give us some kind of a demonstration. You want to show us what all that is back there?
Behind me is a scalar energy instrument. I'll point. This is the instrument. You notice there's no moving parts. You simply are capturing the energy from the sun and the star. These are two Tesla coils behind me that are propagating, if you will, broadcasting that energy. To demonstrate if this operates under the laws of scalar energy, there's power coming from that instrument. If I hold a light bulb in my hand and pass it close to the instrument, the light bulb will illuminate. So that's a sign that we have a local scalar energy force field, a local energy force field in which we can easily illuminate lights brought into the vicinity of the instrument. So this is how I work with people, not in the flesh, but through their energetic force field. It's a new science.
The tubes on the left look like old-fashioned vacuum tubes. Is that what those are?
Yes, yes, they are. That's what's necessary to build up a scalar wave. You really need sort of a dimension, a third dimension to it. This is not solid state. Solid state does not work. You need vacuum tubes to, if you will, build up that scalar energy force field. Yes,
Okay, so nothing is plugged in.
it is. I start with AC current, but I convert the AC into a scalar wave. So we see that if you will, there's a bi-directional conversion of scalar to electricity, electricity to scalar.
How did you discover this?
I studied Tesla. It's been my lifelong passion. And I'd studied under a great scientist by the name of Hieronymus. And I was able to, if you will, engineer these instruments.
So tell us a little bit more about how the healing process is, that you can do it with a photograph of
Okay.
somebody.
Now, keep in mind, everything is information. This is not a chemical session. If I hold up my photograph and I place it in the instrument right next to a photograph of a bacterium, say Staphylococcus aureus, there's an energy field on my photograph and an energy field on Staph aureus. That's a common bacterium. If I place these two photographs in the instrument will find the signature of Staph aureus in my energy field and eradicate it. So by working with photographs of microbes, I can identify a microbe in my energy field and eradicate it.
Have you had any success with the medical community implementing any of this?
No, it's too avant-garde, and for the most part, I'm alone. I work as the sole researcher in this company, and I'm simply trying to introduce this technology. It's not been embraced by any school or any university or any society yet.
Have you approached them at all with it, or?
Oh yes. Stone cold silence. Nothing but silence.
Well, I know that even people that practice holistic medicine or Chinese type healing have been sort of shunned by the medical community. And do you suppose that this is big pharma keeping their tabs on that?
Most likely, yes. If what I say is true and accurate, that this instrument can easily work with 500,000, 1 million photographs a day, this challenges the economic order.
Well, sure it does. Yeah. How long have you been doing this?
I've been at this in theory now for 50 years. In practice, I've been working with instruments, scalar instruments, for 30 years. And my results can be demonstrated by the testimonies of people. Obviously, you can't perform a double blind test on a photograph. And all kidding aside, how do I prove this? The only way you prove it is by testimonies. And people around the world have submitted their testimonies from various backgrounds. The testimonies are excellent.
I'm still unclear how the energy gets from the photograph of a person to the person without you being in the same room together.
Yeah, just as a cell phone would transfer from one point to another point. Now, what I've noticed with scalar energy, everything has a signature. And regardless if it's a person or their photograph, that photograph is my identical signature. In a scalar energy force field, everything is pre-connected. So really there isn't point A to point B. The photograph is me, I am the photograph. What am I saying? In a scalar energy quantum field, this is quantum now, it's consciousness. Everything pre-connects. So you don't have to travel from A to B. A is B, B is A. This is my mirror-like image. My photograph is my living, if you will, scalar energy being.
How serious of an illness will this treat? I mean, can this treat cancer?
I've been working on cancer in the past few months. Bring me back next year and I'll let you know my results.
Okay. I see some words on here: quantum healing, holistic wellness, pathogen busting superpower, mind and spirit enhancement, remote healing, chakra harmony. I mean, this all sounds like New Age.
Well, you'd have to define New Age, but let me say this. As a new branch of physics, we need to define our terms. And if you will, we have to have that collective consciousness one day to define our terms. We need a standing dictionary. There's no dictionary right now.
Elaborate on that a little bit more. What do you mean by that?
Okay. For instance, the term I use is scalar light. Well, another term for that would be 0-point energy, or some people might say it's prana, or it's the plasma energy of the stars. Now, those terms are synonymous as far as I'm concerned, but they beg a definition. So as the sole researcher here, I'm trying to define these terms as I go and trying to write articles and explain how this applies per se to my research. But if you will, any new science demands a new dictionary. I'm going to hold a mouse in my hand. This is my handheld mouse. 100 years ago, that would carry the connotation of a of a rat, of a rodent. No, today it's a different terminology. So we need a new dictionary for quantum physics.
So you're saying that those terms are kind of inappropriate, unsuitable for what you're doing?
Perhaps, yes, because it's not electromagnetic. For instance, people will say, well, how do you measure it? And that's a great question. I don't measure it. It cannot be measured. How do you measure intelligence or consciousness? There's no basic unit. So how do we show the effect? Well, for the most part, right now, only by testimonies. So this is a new branch of physics. It doesn't have a basic unit. You can't measure it. And the terms are undecided. Let's just say the terms are still undecided.
So I guess we've got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. How do you sell this to people? I mean, how do you...
That's a good point. I have a website, scalarlight.com, in which people visit the website. I allow anybody in the world to submit their photograph. You're going to email us a photograph. And that way, this new science, you have to prove it to yourself. Keep in mind, these are custom-built instruments. Your approach, my approach is custom, obviously unique, and your experience will be unique with this custom-built instrument. So I offer 15 days of free sessions. That's the only way I can prove it to people.
How long does a session go?
Throughout the day, I treat the photograph for 24 hours. In other words, 1 hour is a chakra balance. The second hour is a pathogenic cleanse in which I identify and negate pathogens. And then the remaining 22 hours, I download or I impart nutrients. So it's a 24-hour, it's around the clock program.
So now when people submit their photograph to you, do they also tell you what's ailing them?
No.
Or do they want you to figure that out?
No, the divine intelligence does that. I don't ask. This is not medicine. And to make that distinction, the energy is this all-knowing energy, this plasma energy, this divine energy. So I don't have to think. This instrument, controlling scalar energy, that's the animating force that will produce the healing, not me.
Okay. And you said you've had successful testimony from how many people?
Probably 5,000 testimonies, counting now.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay. We're going to have to kind of wind this down. Now, you don't have a book, right? You're not promoting a book at this point?
No. I offer my 15 days of free sessions. I'm still at the proving stage.
Okay. Do you have a code or something you want us to put up?
No, just scalarlight.com. Anybody can go to the website 24 hours a day. There's free sessions. Try it.
Okay, scalarlight.com. All right, Tom. Well, thanks for coming on. This was very interesting. And best of luck. I hope to hear more about this.
I think you will. Thank you, Douglas.